Hello everybody, this is Them Gaming Twins, and today this is a creepypasta called The Watchers. It was dark, a late night in 1998. I was drinking in a bar, a mere pittance from the other year. The bar was closing, but I didn't want to leave. I slushed around my Carling, which was flat. My phone was flat as well, and I couldn't charge it, so I didn't know the time. But the moon outside gestured it was around 1 a.m. A cold shiver ran down my spine as the bartender banged down on the table and cursed at me. I jumped and then swore back at him. He grabs the glass and points to the door. As I get up, I notice something. Not the bartender, but a black figure, and probably a woman from her figure. I make nothing of it as I walked out into the street, and it was deserted, and I flinch as it was extremely quiet. But I never heard the bartender or the lights turning off behind me. All of them, apart from one where another person stood. This was in the same black shadow, enough though covered in complete light. The man was looking at me, but his face was secluded. I shouted out, but he, or it, had no reaction to this and carried on staring at me. The pure white eyes were the only thing noticeable apart from the black bloody figure. I began to stare and walk backwards, never losing my gaze with it as the lamp flickered, making everything go pitch black. I turned and began to walk away slowly. I'd watched horror movies. I wanted to run, but I was frozen in a walking stance. I shouted at the top of my lungs and no one listened, and I called back, and now I finally began to break into a sprint, watching behind my back. It was still dark. "Help! Please!" I screamed, my throat dry, constantly shouting. Had to walk back, but on my way back I saw nothing at all, but I had tripped and grazed my left arm and left knee. As I got to the house, I live alone, and my house was covered in trash from the neighbours' parties, in which I was never invited. But then I saw a woman in the bar, sitting on the stairs in front of the house, the door, and her eyes, as if they hated me, but were trying to seem friendly. They began to mumble inaudibly to my own ears as I began walk up to the house. I thought I was hallucinating because of that time. Well, I walked up again, but I was saying something. I thought I knew. It whispered, "They're all dead, Tommy." Then, "I'm sorry, Tommy." I covered my face as I walked past it, and it was the same, as if I was a mile away, still blurry. I walked through it, but it kept repeating as I slammed the door and got into the bedroom and jumped in. Before then, I saw it. My window to my right of my bed always creeped me out, but I swore a rope was hanging. A black creature had its eyes open still and were moving. A long line of writing was across the wall. It was creeping me out, and I retch to my left hand and I scream out uncontrollably, but no one hears me, and I get up to turn on the lights. It was still dark. It was still dark. They carried on talking, and I looked under the bed. A gun lay under the bed. I grabbed it and held it in my hand. A bullet was gone of the 7-bullet barrel. A shot at the eyes. The bullets flew through the air past him. I cried and screamed. I ran out into the kitchen. The writing was pasted around the walls, spray painted a red colour along the walls. I covered my ears and blocked out the noises and threw the gun out the room. I sat in the kitchen, crying as the sun rose over the hills. And as the sun glinted over the hills, the writing disappeared, and the voices stopped, and I lay in the open. This wasn't a dream. I never go to sleep in the dark anymore, so they don't come back, and so should you. And just remember, the window inside your room is your enemy. It always has been.